I really, to the Kamala Harris glow honeymoon. It's starting to die. Yeah, starting to die. I'm starting to be like, God, fuck. I don't
do the election already. Let's go.
Like today, she's I don't know if it was today, but I read the story today that she's going to keep building the border wall. Which, TJ, why are we doing this? This one really blows my mind because in 2016, Trump said, "Let's build a wall," and everyone laughed at him, rightfully so, because it's dumb. It's a dumb idea for a litany of reasons that are even obvious to dumb people. It didn't work. We know it didn't work. Because now he wants to do mass deportation, which is basically admitting that his border wall didn't work. And the Democrats have just continued building this fucking wall. And I don't understand why. It seems to be an easy political move to just nuke the fucking wall. Just knock it all down. Like, do a photo op. Why do we keep doing this?
So I don't know the details of what she said about the wall. So when Trump came out in 2016 and said, build the wall, my first thought was there's already plenty of wall down there. I've seen the southern border. There's giant walls everywhere. And Trump's whole pitch was he wanted to build a ridiculous ass wall across the entire southern border over public and private property, over water. It just was stupid. It made no sense. It was a cartoon fantasy of a wall. And when he got in, there's like a couple 100 miles he did, but most of it was just patching up old wall. And
TJ, I'm sorry, I'm just thinking that he watched Game of Thrones and was like, that's what I want.
basically. And people believed it. People were like, Mexico's going to pay for it. There'll be a giant wall. And so it's a ridiculous shit. So when he actually got into office, he keeps, I think it was 200 miles of wall, but 180 miles of it was already there. We already have a significant border wall presence. And that's been, no one had a problem with it until Trump said, I'm going to build this giant one, which is never going to happen. So I don't know what Harris said. Did she say, well, yeah, the border wall projects that are already going on, we're going to keep going, or she's going to add to it? I don't know what she meant. I didn't look into it.
I think it was, let me see. So if she's elected president, Kamala Harris pledges to spend hundreds of millions of dollars on this wall along the southern border, a project she once opposed and called un-American during the Trump administration. It's the latest example of Harris, blah, 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 blah. This doesn't have actual freaking quotes. So I don't know. But she's going to continue the projects that are currently in motion.
I'd like to see that because that would be my guess. I have a hard time imagining she would we're going to pack on 100 more miles of wall. That would be weird to say. But with her doing this, it is still a right-wing coded thing to say in the first place, and because how it's been sullied by Trump saying it. But she's been doing stuff like this the last week or so, honestly, ever since her speech at the convention, where she's, I think you brought up Mitt Romney's quote with the Etch-a-Sketch with, so she's kind of doing that. And, it was coming. It just had to, because no one gets their nomination and then continues to move left or continue. It's just that. That's not a thing that ever happens in general elections. So it was coming. It's just that it is disheartening to see. What did you think? Have you seen that she's doing that debate on CNN? Not debate, but the
interview.
The interview on CNN. I saw that she was doing it with Tim Walz, and my first thought was, why? Why are you doing that? Because one complaint that conservatives have been putting forth for the last month now is that she has not sat down for a one-on-one interview with any of the major networks. And she said, I will do one. I'll do it in August. And I said, okay, she's got to do this because it was becoming a thing. You don't want to give them a thing. You don't want to give them a narrative. You don't want to give them ammunition. And then she came out and said, well, yeah, I'm going to be doing it with Waltz. I was like, what? Why? You don't need to do that. And then I've seen all these people showing clips of well, Obama did an interview with Biden. Trump did one with Pence. Trump did one with Vance. All right, great. But I'm glad to see it. But the narrative was being built that she doesn't want to sit down. Whether the narrative is true or not doesn't matter. You have narratives are built on perception, not on reality. And I wish she would have quashed the narrative because that's going to stick with her until she finally does the one-on-one interview. And who knows when that's going to happen? And you don't want them to browbeat you over the head with it like that. It's an easy thing to beat. You can sit down for an interview. It's not that hard.
So I'm going to circle because there's a couple things I want to address here. Mm-hmm. One, because we never actually discussed the DNC speech. I thought it was okay.
Mm-hmm.
I really hated the fact that she said she was going to sign the border bill, because why the fuck would you commit to doing that if you have a chance to take the House and the Senate? It makes me feel like you think this bill is good instead of a compromise position to make Donald Trump look bad.
Mm-hmm.
And it is very concerning to me. In fact, I saw a poll today that 55% of Americans now think that we should have less immigration, which it was for the first time ever in as recently as 2020. More Americans thought we should have more immigration than less immigration. And the Biden administration just fucking bulldozed that by continuing to move right on this issue. Now, not everyone, but the majority of Americans are now far right Republicans of 20 years ago when it comes to immigration. And it really fucking sucks. I don't agree that you have to do that in order to win.
Yeah.
I do think that a pro-immigration candidate could do a lot, just like an anti-immigration Joe Biden just completely shrunk support for immigration within the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
The opposite could have the opposite effect. Anyway, just wanted to say that.
Oh, I'm out to pull
written down. What was the last thing you just talked about?
I was talking about the interview.
The interview, yes. With the interview thing, I think if there is something real to her not wanting to, it just seems like a dumb thing that like
it is a dumb
feel
thing.
Comfortable doing an interview on her own because she can't, like, she can talk.
Of course she can. Yeah,
I've seen her talk off the cuff.
Mm-hmm.
She's clearly better at it than Biden, and they let him do this shit.
I know.
It doesn't make sense to me that like there's real fire to this smoke. And I think that what really it is hey, we had to put together a campaign within weeks, and certain things got prioritized, certain things didn't. One-on-one interview prep was not prioritized. We prioritized getting ready for the launch, getting everyone coalesced together. This was a second order priority. And now she's starting to do them. She's obviously and when they started doing the debates and we're doing all this kind of at the same time, it makes sense. These things go hand in hand. So I don't think it's because of inability on Kamala Harris's part. I think it's just a truncated campaign, and you can only prepare for so many things at once. And this is when she's doing that. And she's doing it with Waltz because, again, truncated campaign, and Waltz has really fucking high approval rating. So
he does.
Not include him in the first one. I don't think it's anything. And you're right. There's a narrative there, but I don't think anyone outside of conservative Twitter has even thought about this. You know what I mean? Like, who really fucking cares? She's going to do one-on-one interviews. The normally Americans won't even think about this in November.
Yeah, and the debate's like a week and a half away. That'll crush anything like that.
That'll completely take
forget all
about. I'm not worried about this bill unless it's real. If it's real for whatever reason, then we're fucked either way. So I don't need to consider that as an option. We just got to Kobayashi Maru that.
It's like what got me is that for the first 2 years of Harris's vice presidency, 3 years actually, I was always criticizing how bad she was in interviews. I remember like she was terrible, and so she doesn't have to be though, because like you've seen her in interviews before, you've seen her in debates, you've seen her in public presentations. She does like one-on-one stuff on occasion, like answer one-off questions. She's capable of doing it. There's no reason to worry. So I don't know. If I were me, I just want to bulldoze out there, but that's probably the smart move. You don't want to get caught off guard with looking